Fourth, fifth revision, section 1500 Formwork. Description: Formwork shall include all temporary or permanent forms required for forming the concrete of the shape, dimension, and surface finish as shown on the drawing or as directed by the engineer, together with all props, staging, centering, scaffolding, and temporary construction required for their support. Materials: all materials shall comply with the requirements of IRC 87. Materials and components used for formwork shall be examined for damage or excessive deterioration before use, reuse, and shall be used only if found suitable after necessary repairs. In case of timber formwork, the inspection shall not only cover physical damage but also signs of attacks by decay, or rot, or insect attack, or the development of spills. Forms shall be constructed with metal or timber. The metal used for forms shall be of such thickness that the forms remain true to shape. All bolts should be construct. The use of approved forms shall be constructed with metals or timber. The metal used for forms shall be of such thickness that the forms remain true to shape. All bolts should be counterstruck. The use of approved internal steel ties or steel or plastic spacers shall be permitted. Structural steel tubes used as support for forms shall have a minimum wall thickness of 4 mm. Other materials conforming to the requirements of IRC 87 may also be used if approved by the engineer. Design of formwork: the design, erection, and removal of formwork shall conform to IRC 87 guidelines for formwork, false work, and temporary structures, and these specifications the forms shall be used such as to ensure that they can be conveniently removed without disturbing the concrete. The design shall facilitate proper and safe access to all parts of formwork for inspection. The contractor shall furnish the design and drawing of complete formwork, that is, the forms as well as their supports, for approval of the engineer before any erection is taken up. If proportionary system of formwork is used, the contractor shall furnish detailed information as per the Appendix 1500 to the engineer for approval. Notwithstanding any approval or review of drawing and design by the engineer, the contractor shall be entirely responsible for the edu- education and safety of homework. In the case of pre-stressed concrete superstructure, careful consideration shall be given to redistribution of loads on props due to pre-stressing. Workmanship. The formwork shall be robust and strong, and the joints shall be leak proof. Valleys shall not be used as staging. Staging must have cross bracing and diagonal bracing in both directions. Staging shall be provided with an approximately designed base plate resulting on home strata. The number of joints in the formwork shall be kept to a minimum by using large-sized panels. The design shall provide for proper solidars to facilitate alignment. All joints shall be leak-proof and must be properly sealed. Use of PVC joint sealing tapes, foam rubber, or PVC T-section is essential to prevent leakage of grout. As far as practicable, clamps shall be used to hold the forms together where use of the nails is unavoidable. Minimum number of nails shall be used and these shall be of double-headed type. Alternatively, if the nails are of the normal type, they shall be left partially projecting without being driven to their full length so that they can be withdrawn easily. Use of ties shall be restricted as far as practicable. Wherever ties are used, they shall be used with HDPE sheeting so that they can easily be removed. No parts prone to corrosion shall be left projecting or near the surface. The sheathing shall be grouted with cement mortar of the same strength as that of the structure, unless otherwise specified or directed. Chamfers or fillet of size 25 mm shall be provided at all angles of the formwork to avoid sharp corners. The chamfers, beveled edges, and molding shall be made in the formwork itself. Opening for fixture and other fitting shall be provided in the shuttering as directed by the engineer. Shuttering for walls, sloping members, and thin section of considerable height shall be provided with temporary opening to permit inspection and cleaning but before placing of concrete. The formwork shall be constructed with pre-camber to the soffit to allow all deflection of the formwork. This shall be in addition to the pre-camber for the permanent structure as shown on the drawing, where centering trusses or launching trusses are adopted for casting of superstructure. The joints of the centering trusses, whether welded, riveted, or bolted, shall be thoroughly checked periodically Also, various members of the centering trusses should be with the concreting. They shall also be periodically checked for any deterioration in quality due to steel corrosion, launching truss, casting truss of a span more than 40 meters, and traveling forms shall be load tested before they are put to use. The formwork shall be so made as to produce a finished concrete true to shape, line and levels and dimension as shown on the drawing, subject to the tolerances specified in respective section of this specification or as directed by the engineer. Where metal forms are used, all bolts and rivets shall be counterstuck and well ground to provide a smooth plane surface. Where timber is used, it shall be well seasoned, free from loose knots, projecting nails, splits, or other defects. They may mar the surface of concrete. Forms shall be made sufficiently rigid by the use of ties and bracing to prevent any displacement or staging between supports. They shall be strong enough to withstand all pressures, ramming, and vibration during and other placing the concrete screw jacks or hard wood wedges where required shall be provided to make up any settlement in the formwork either before or during the placing of concrete. The formwork shall ensure the correct final shape of the structure with the calculated amount of positive or negative chamber. The deformation of false work, scaffolding or propping and the instantaneous or deformation due to various causes arranging in pre-stressed structure shall be properly accounted for. Suitable camber shall be provided to horizontal member of the structure, especially in long spans to counteract the effect of deflection. The formwork shall be so fixed as to provide for such camber. The formwork shall be coated with an approved release agent that will effectively prevent sticking and will not stain the concrete surface. Lubricating oil, machine oil shall be prohibited for use as coatings. Lining of formwork. The formwork shall be lined with material approved by the engineer so as to provide a smooth finish of uniform texture and appearance. The material shall leave no stains on the concrete and shall be so fixed to its backing as not to impart any blemishes. It shall be of the same type above 10 from only one source throughout for the construction of any one structure. The contractor shall make good any imperfections in the resulting finish as result by the engineer. Internal ties and embedded metal parts shall be carefully detailed and their use shall be subject to the approval of the engineer. Precautions. The following precautions shall be observed. It shall be ensured that any cut out of or opening provided in any structural member to facilitate erection of formworks are closed with the same grade concrete as that of the structure after formwork is removed. Provision for safe access to the formwork shall be made at all levels as required. Close watch shall be maintained to check for settlement of formwork during concreting, and may settlement shall be promptly rectified. Natural ground shall be checked for bearing capacity and likely settlement before erection of the staging. It shall be ensured that water used for curing or rain does not stagnate near the base plate of the staging. For shutter used for deep and narrow member, temporary opening in the sides shall be provided to facilitate pouring and compacting of concrete. Preparation of formwork before concreting. The inside surface of formwork shall, except in the case of permanent works or otherwise where otherwise agreed to the engineer, the coated with a release agent supplied by approved manufacturer or as an approved material to prevent addition of concrete to the formwork. Release agent shall be applied strictly in accordance with the manufacturer's instruction and shall not be allowed to come in contact with any reinforcement or pre-stressing tendons, and encourages different release agents shall not be used in formwork or exposed concrete. Before reuse of formwork, the following action shall be taken. The contract surface of the formwork shall be cleared carefully and dried before applying a release agent. It should be ensured that the release agent is appropriate to the surface to coated coated the same type and make of a release agent shall be used throughout on similar formwork materials, and different type should not be mixed. The formwork surface shall be evenly and thinly coated with release agent. The vertical surface shall be treated before horizontal surface, and any excess wiped out. It shall be ensured that the reinforcement of the surface of the hardened concrete shall not come in contact with the release agent. All forms shall be thoroughly clear, cleared immediately before concreting. The contractor shall give the engineer due to notice before placing of any concrete in the formwork to permit him to inspect and approve the formwork. However, such inspection shall not relieve the contractor of the responsibility for safety of formwork, masonry material, and finish or tolerances of concrete. Removal of formwork. The scheme of removal of formwork, that is desettering and decentering, shall be planned in advance and furnished to the formwork for scrutiny and approval. No formwork or any part therefore shall be removed without prior approval of the engineer. The formwork shall be so removed as not to cause any damage to concrete. Centering shall be gradually and uniformly lowered in such a manner as to permit the concrete to take stress due to its own weight uniformly and gradually to avoid any shocks or vibration. Formwork shall not be released unless the concrete has achieved strength or at least twice the stress the concrete may be subjected at the time of removal of formwork. when no test is conducted for determination of strength of concrete, and where the time of removal of formwork is not specified, the same shall be as under wall pier abutment columns and vertical faces of structural members 12 to 48 hours as may be decided by the engineer. Soffit of slabs with props left under 3 days. Props left under slabs 14 days. Soffit of girders with props left under 7 days. Props left under girders 21 days. The above time schedule is applicable when ordinary Portland cement is used without any admixture at an ambient temperature exceeding 10 degrees Celsius for concrete made with Portland pozzolana cement, Portland slag cement, or mineral admixture. Additional cube samples shall be taken for verifying the strength of concrete to decide the time of deserting. Where there are intent angles in the concrete section, the formwork shall be removed at these sections as soon as possible after the concrete has set in order to avoid cracking due to shrinkage of concrete. Additional precautions as given in clause 8.17 or IRC 87 shall also be followed. Reuse of formwork. When the formwork is dismantled, its individual components shall be examined for damage and damaged pieces shall be removed for rectification. Such examination shall always be carried out before their use again. Before reuse, all components shall be cleared to deposit of soils, concrete, or other unwanted materials. Their Repentant parts shall be oiled after cleaning. All bent steel props shall be straightened before reuse. The maximum permissible deviation from straightness is 1 by 600 of the length. The maximum permissible axial load in used props shall be suitably reduced depending upon the condition. The condition of the timber components, plywood and steel structure plates shall be examined closely for distortion and defect before reuse. Specialized formwork such as sleep, silk forms, floating cushion and traveling forms wherever used shall be designed and detailed by com- competent agency, and a set of complete working drawings and installation instructions supplied to the engineer. In case proprietary equipment is used, the suppliers shall furnish drawing detail, installation instruction etc. in the form of manuals along with the formwork. For slip forms, the rate of climb of the formwork shall be designed for each individual case, taking into account various parameters including the grade of concrete, concrete strength, concrete temperature, ambient temperature, and concrete admixture. For floating or details of fabrication, floating to site and placing in position shall be as given in the clause 1203.5 of the specification. In order to verify the time and sequence of sticking removal or a specialized formwork routine field tests for the consistency and strength development of concrete are mandatory. For specialized formwork, the form's lining materials may be either a plywood or a steel sheet or appropriate thickness. Test and standards of acceptance. The material shall be tested in accordance with these specifications and shall meet the prescribed criteria. The work shall conform to these specifications and shall meet the prescribed standards of acceptance. Measurement for payment. Unless stated otherwise, the rate for concrete in plain concrete or reinforcement concrete, pre-staged concrete shall be deemed to include all formwork required in accordance with the session section, which shall not be measured separately where it is specially stipulated in the contract that the formwork shall be paid for separately. Measurement of formwork shall be taken in square meters of the section area of concrete which in contact with formwork. Rate. The unit rate of a plain concrete or reinforced concrete or pre-staged concrete as defined in respective sections of this specification shall be deemed to cover the costs of all formwork and staging, including cost of all materials, labor, tools, and plants required for design, construction, and removal of formwork and supervision as described in this section, including properly supporting the members until the concrete is cured, set, and hardened as required. Where the contract unit rate for formwork is especially provided as a separate item in the contract, it shall include the cost of all materials, labors, tools, and plant required for design, construction, and removal of formwork and supervision as described in this section, including properly supporting the member with until the concrete is cured, set, and hardened as required.